Pritzker, but it's him. Really nice move. Blake Delaney had to move out of the way.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to another Tuesday night amateurs session. Rattlegun Rankin behind the microphone. Rob Sainted Lord behind the scenes on the cameras. And of course, my least favorite co-commentator. Absolutely hate him every time he's singling in the booth. It's Brendan.
Yeah, I'm not very thrilled to be here either, mate. But, you know, I could have got anybody else but you, but hey, look, we'll make do. It's always good fun. You know, the banter's always high, and we're looking forward to what's going to be another very exciting round here for the SAW Amateur Series.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Brenton. I mean, it's just league culture. If you don't start the broadcast off, or you don't start the race off with insulting at least one person, is it really SRW? It's low-key. That's what we want here at SRW. That's what it's all about. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's racing is your precursor to your Sunday night action. And in 5 minutes, we'll be jumping straight into our qualifying session. For the moment, drivers are finalising their practice runs. Small tweak, I believe, to the race formats here tonight. In two 20-minute sprint races. The second one beginning with a reverse grid race, which means top 10 shootout. Not continuing on, but I'm just watching a whole host of drivers, including a Right Sim Racing entry, and one that's been quite quick throughout a number of the weeks is Brock Mottershead making mistakes. And as anyone who's probably been watching V8 Supercars as it heads into 2023, the Cool Drive entry has actually been turning its first laps around Winton Motor Raceway in Gen 3 capacities. And what have you caught of that action, Brenton? Brendan, why am I throwing a T in there? Look, it's because my brother's name's Brent. That's what it is.
Yeah, look, I'll be honest, I missed you because I just, my headphones are still not liking this
Okay, we're talking all things Gen 3. Because Gen 3, the Cool Drive entry is out turning laps at Winton Motor Raceway at the moment, which has been the first car to do more than anything shakedown. And then we've got Shell V-Power Racing pictures that have broken cover as of today, as well as its shakedown laps as well. Not testing laps, ladies and gentlemen, shakedown laps. So there's a slight little difference in that little bit of capacity as well. But yeah. Gen 3 laps starting to come through thick and fast, and Winton was the chosen track for that, for the Cool Drive entry. What's your take on it, Brendan? Have we lost you?
Yeah, no, I'm not really sure what's going on. I think I'm here. Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to it. It's kind of like a muscle GT4 series in a way, I suppose. Looking at the cars, they kind of remind me a bit like GT4 cars. Obviously with a lot bigger engines, so I think there's going to be that comparison made. It's that classic, you know, GM Ford battle still. I think it's still going to have that character, the Aussie fans and the New Zealand fans, that culture of Holden versus Ford or Chevy versus Ford as it will now be. It's still going to be there. There's that rivalry on track, and of course you're always going to support your favourite driver. And hey, look, new cars, sort of completely new experiences. You know, we've seen some faster lap times around Bathurst and various other tracks with the current generation cars, and I think it's going to be really exciting to see how they progress.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I think we're all heading in the right direction. One of the most interesting things to me was actually the ride height, and that actually causes me a few moments of concern, because when we head to places like Surfers Paradise, that means a lot less curb hopping, which means the entire nature, effectively the lower to the ground the cars run, the less curb hopping they can do without bottoming out. So I'm actually really curious to see how that develops. I don't like them if they are indeed that low. I think that'll be something that we will completely miss from Australian culture, just in the nature of the tracks that are represented. Right, Winton Raceway receiving an onboard lap here from Brock Mottershead at this point in time as he comes around the final corner. Tough, technical, tight, and tricky. 4 T words, and I think it perfectly describes the aptitudes that the drivers are going to require of themselves here tonight, Brendan. We lost you again. You're not having a good technology night at all. Mate, we're gonna have to. So, ladies and gentlemen,
hang on. Am I there now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Right. Okay. I've just switched back over to mobile data because the Wi-Fi at my new house just does not work yet.
Well, see,
right.
that's me next week. So don't fill me with confidence.
Alrighty. Now I just need to open the stream again. Right, we're getting there. Hang on. Bear with me, folks. Right, we're there. Right, awesome. Hang on. You were talking about a lap around Winton. Yes. Winton is a very technical track. We've seen so many great races produced in SRW here at Winton, TCRs, Radicals, Porsches. Some really historic moments spring to mind. Obviously, those exit curves through the chicanes there at 1 and 2. Through this back sector here, cars running wide through that corner. Perfect timing there from where we're riding on board from. It's a very challenging track, and it doesn't look that intimidating, but it's certainly very easy to get wrong. And those little micro sectors, as we see a bit of a slide into the pit lane, a lot can go wrong in a very short lap.
Yep. Qualifying is now going to tick over. We are at 9:45 a.m. on Sunday the 7th of February in the simulator. No, that's incorrect. It is actually today's date from the simulator. The sun and time advancement is set to 0%, is what I was taking the acronym from there. My apologies. Right, so 9:45 a.m. That's an incredibly dark track for 9:45 in the morning. That's a lot of cloud cover I'm seeing overhead. And we've lost Brendan again. Right, all right.
No, Brendan's here. Brendan's just not talking. Sorry. I just missed the feed line. I missed the feed line. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So
yeah, it's sort of a bit more like New Zealand weather, really. At the moment, overcast, 10-kilometer wind across the track, 16 degrees. Yeah, really. 19 degrees.
So it'll be 16 air temperature, 19 track temperature.
Yeah, which is really cold for an Australian track. So that's going to play into fact as well.
I mean, this is down in the Victorian way of things, definitely in the cooler part of the country. But it's the middle of summer. Come on, get up there. Let the track, the sun climb through the air. Let it scramble. Let it apply some heat to these cars. No, not going to be the case. That was your track map. That's all your information. And I believe our first laps have just been started. As a few cars have trundled off the start-finish line. I'm seeing little mistakes coming from a ton of guys. Dylan Gray will be the first guy to get out and complete a lap. But it's going to be about track position and getting those laps in and then quick toes back to the pit lane. Right, tough and tricky technical track here tonight. Victorian conditions very akin to New Zealand. We've even got the giant fluffy floating sheep in the sky. So yeah, it's basically New Zealand temperature. Perfect. Everything's in alignment.
Yeah, definitely, certainly some advantage for those Kiwis there, maybe perhaps. Not that we really see that in an iRacing sim, of course.
Not yet. Coming this year, Pukekohe. They said they're working on it, and they hope to have Pukekohe out this year. So
yeah, well, they said they were going to have Forza Motorsport come out 8 years ago. Still waiting for that.
Yeah.
Did you see the other day they put a trailer out for Forza Motorsport, like a 6 minute long feature. Coming 2023, and then all the memes with question marks at the end of it on the Forza community. Certainly overdue that game.
I didn't know you were a Forza fan. I've driven a ton of project cars too. I actually ran into there's a lot of guys that I used to race in project cars that just landed. I ran into oval racing actually, because most of them were Americans actually. So yeah, I ended up just randomly running into a bunch of them whilst doing official racing. So
I think that's but the thing with the likes of Gran Turismo and Forza and Project Cars, those console games, so to speak, they kind of are feeders into iRacing, being the granddaddy of sim racing. Right? So I know, at the risk of bringing a bit of personal team stuff into it. Crisscross started on Forza. That was where we all got our interest in sim racing. You see Cowie there getting it wrong. He'll he'll back that one up. Not quite as bad as my rolling a GT86 on Thursday night, but good to see fellow commentators failing as well. That was fantastic. It was a brilliant roll. I highly recommend if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it.
We're gonna have to go back. Yeah, okay. Good you've done.
Grey there with a purple in sector 2, orange through sector 3. Currently sitting in second place, coming up to the line now. Where does he come across? It's another orange sector, so he'll stay in second place.
And two laps is the only time that you're going to even get laps out of the car. The crisscross team, I actually want to ask you a question, Mark. Adam Hughes has received himself a chat ban. Is there any chance that you know when, where, how, or why that's ended up happening? Because, ladies and gentlemen...
Oh, you're talking about the iRacing issue?
The iRacing chat ban, yeah. So he's been a naughty boy?
Yeah, he has. I mean, to be fair, iRacing is pretty harsh on you Australians because, you know, offensive words are quite often a term of endearment, more so than... I run my mouth quite a lot in I've never actually received a chat ban, and I probably run my mouth a lot more than Adam Hughes does. To be perfectly honest. But the Americans that I'm talking to love the accent, so I play it off a lot, and I think it's taken in the right culture. Whereas Adam only ever tends to open his mouth when he has something very passionate to say about driving standards. Definitely. Let's just say the story that I've heard, what he said, he definitely meant it. So.
Look, the best thing about Adam Hughes is that everything is said tongue-in-cheek until it's not. Everything.
Exactly.
That man never says a straight word until he is ripping shreds off you. And even that, it's only pretty quickly. He gets over stuff fairly quickly, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, most of the time.
Hey, Adam, if you're listening, enjoy race control tonight, buddy. Yeah, we know.
No, he's not in race control tonight.
Is he?
No.
What's he doing?
No, you don't want to know. No, I don't know what he's doing. I think they're still recovering from their Bathurst trip. So,
is he spotting for Callan then?
Possibly. Must be spotting for Callan because he wasn't up in the RC chat when I was up there saying hello to the boys before. He could be coaching.
Big shout out to everyone who's just come back from the Bathurst 12 hour. Tell us your stories. We want to hear about everything that's going on. Big SRW community love being extended. So, sorry, we just got something in from Rob Hayter behind the scenes. So what was that, Rob? Just want to repeat that one.
Oh, the crash.
Oh, the Nissan. Yeah, the Nissan that was doing... Well, apparently the Nissan that was doing 327 kilometers an hour down the straight, that wasn't actually its peak speed. Because the speed trap happens before the cars actually reach peak speed, but because it's right at the kink. So that Nissan was actually getting up to 337 kilometers an hour, not 327 kilometers an hour. There you go. Oh, it was capable of 337, and they think they got it there, but it was telemetry they were following. I'm seeing an interesting track positioning battle going on between Dylan Gray and Daniel Schultz, who are both trying to warm their tyres, keep their tyres as cool as possible, and I think Schultz is looking for a toe. So this is games that are being played in qualifying. I think Schultz is having fun. Of course, I believe Schultz is wrapped up with Dragon RC. I believe he actually runs Dragon RC, so... Yeah, okay. That's how you win the battle. That's how you win the mind game battle.
Just decides we're not going to have a piece of that.
You stop playing. You pick up your ball, you take your ball, and you go home.
Yeah, I wouldn't think Winton would have a huge advantage on draft. It's not...
I thought it would be... a disadvantage, actually, you mean somebody's dirty air, but anyway.
Yeah, it's not the longest straights in the world, so yeah, you're quite right. I think the dirty air would be more so than a draft. Well,
yeah, king of dirty air over here in the IndyCar, so... Mate, I think we set a record last night for the largest winning margin in an SRW race. In the IndyCars, actually. A lap and a half.
Oh, wow, that's massive.
Yeah, it's short track racing. It was only what? 17-second lap time.
Oh wow, that's really real short track.
Yeah. That's IWE. Doing 300 kilometers an hour.
Alrighty there. Back to the racing at hand tonight.
All right.
So, we've got the two KFC cars there on screen running together. So perhaps the draft might be a thing here tonight. Obviously, these guys can be told apart from their red wheels versus their green wheels. Whee, commentators, because we left them on the screen a little bit too long. That's Martin there, off the track in the wall. His teammate Peter Pavlovic, always a pretty solid performer.
A few shout-outs in the chat already as well. So there's a mix. We've got a blend of support. Greg Leake is here to support racing. Generally, Greg Leake enjoys a big bust-up, so he's a fan of bust-ups. Tyson Styles here, so crisscross / Ryko Whitey's Pie is covered. But he'll be supporting Callan Hodgkinson, and I think he'll be supporting your commentary efforts, actually. And
there's no support in the commentary efforts.
So he is just here. Can we get
Stephen?
The craziest story about how bad and weird and wonderful Brendan is? Obviously, you've got to send him up the garden path as much as you possibly can, Tyson. And Dean Hunt is here in support of the Frog Leap Juice Racing guys. So he's a hippity hopping around from chat to chat tonight. Gotta get a frog reference in. The thing is that if Ray Oliver ever ends up off of track, that gives me full license to say, well, guess he's croaked it.
How long were you working on that one?
All of about 5 seconds. It popped into my head, and I was sitting here waiting for the opportunity to release it.
He says 5 seconds, folks. He's got 5 pages worth of drafts there.
Oh, you bet, man. This is
working.
You think?
No, he's taking it slow. He's on the block. He's on the tactical block. There's a car behind him. There we go.
Yeah, it was Schultzy. You think I do work on race notes? No, there's no race notes, but puns, man, there is pages of them. Whoa! Contact between
I think they're fighting for it.
and Cowie? Yeah, it just made contact, but I believe Brock Motters lost the rear bumper of the car. So it lost the rear end of the car. So I don't believe that one was intentional.
So it looks like Oliver Pavlovic and Schultzy there having a little bit of battle for track position. Who's going to go in front for this next flying lap?
So, end of this lap here in a few moments. No, it's going to be out the front, not out the rear. Oh, it was Motters rejoining. And as the car's jumped up and over because that corner's slightly banked. As it's jumped up and over the corners, he's lost all control. There's no grip.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's a rear grid penalty, actually. We've seen that in one other league last week or so. I can't remember which one it was now. Someone had an end-of-line grid penalty from qualifying for a driving infringement.
There's been a couple headed out this season, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the key factor will be whether Cowie can get another lap in.
There's 3 minutes, but there's plenty of time. Yeah. He'll be able to fast toe, get around, and then see one more. I
can tell you that he's off track again, though. So
that would be his out lap, though. So it's probably not going to cost him too much.
No, yeah. So Steve Sinkovich is still circulating for how long? Schultzy's the next SRB car through the grass. Ladies and gentlemen,
circulating the track or circulating just one corner?
The infield and the immediate back to pit lane. Ladies and gentlemen, Sim Racing World TV now provides its own lawn care service, courtesy of Brad Wall, Steven Sinkovich, and Daniel Schultz here tonight. Obviously, all 3 of them are struggling massively. Another right Sim Racing car in the pits. Was there 2 of them out there tonight? Because there's one on the track. I think there was 2. Because there was one definitely into the pits, and that's on his head. So it's 7. Where's the P7? Pavlovich. Okay, so it was a KFC car. Pavlovich. Never mind. Looked like it. There's somebody backwards. Ray Oliver's struggling tonight.
He's
we've got it!
We've got the croak!
We've got the croak! Dean, I don't know if you're in chat with Ray Oliver right now, but can you please pass on the fact that Ray just croaked it in qualifying? please. Oh, I need to hear his response too. If he... It'll be something about Nathan Allen and driving a pace car through the grass will be his response. That tends to be his response to most things. Tyson Styles says that... Okay, we can't actually repeat that one on live on air. But anyway, if you're watching around the world and you're watching Sim Racing World, you can actually go and join in and participate potentially in some of the chat over on the YouTube channel. SRW TV live on YouTube and on Facebook as well. So the last minute of qualifying coming live to you, Brendan, through the middle of the track. And
yeah, and it seems...
Jet Murray's
like
got half a second on the field, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like all those quick laps were set early because at the moment not many of them seem to be improving. Whoa, that was Pavlov. No, that was the other one.
Yeah.
Steve Martin, isn't it?
Yeah, Steve Martin. Steve Martin's the other one. Yeah. So, unfortunately for Steve Martin, I think that'll end his qualifying seconds. They've got to finish the lap at the end of qualifying because we've got a heat format tonight. So, for your information, I don't know if you ever knew this one, Brendan, about iRacing sessions, but if there's a heat format or a sprint round, the instant the timer runs out, that's it. Qualifying's over.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, qualifying's over. Yeah, that's a little known fact. A lot of drivers think it's a bit more like real life. They get that white flag, they get their last lap, but yeah, not the case here in iRacing. So,
well, I mean, it is.
Come up.
It is when there's no heat format. When there's just one race format, there is actually all of that. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to crack on with your qualifying results and straight into our gridding for tonight's races. The 17 of Jet Murray has gone to pole position. Tim Nicol will be alongside of him. Dylan Gray and Joe Mahoney, row number 2. Brock Bottishead and Ray Oliver, row number 3. Peter Pavlovich, Brad Wall, row number 4. Daniel Schultz and Stephen Martin rounding out your top 10. Leith McClyman and Andrew Cowan a long way down and a long way off pace for Cowie. That's okay. It's practice night effectively for him for Sunday. Brett Taylor and Shane Nicol, Bradley Mays and Stephen Sinkovich, and Callum Hodgkinson failed to set a time. All of the drivers setting a time, and Ray Oliver's internet croaked it as well in the middle of qualifying. He's trying to rapidly make his way back into the field. But look at them, they're all bunched up. This gives me nightmares watching this, Brendan, the run down to turn number 1 at Winton, because it is so tight.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the tighter first corners, and then of course that left-right combo. You're really jostling for track position, so when these guys trying to get as much advantage as possible, you sort of want to get that run. Jet Murray on pole there, really looking for a good start. Nothing worse than being caught up in the mid-pack here at Winton.
Righto, we are just moments away. We're about 20 seconds from cutting through to the race. And all of that will be going... Ray Oliver still in the session? Yeah, yes, he is. Ray Oliver has now gridded up. So there's only a couple cars waiting to grid. Callum Hodgkinson takes his place at the rear end of the field. And I think that's just about all of our drivers gridded here tonight. Righto, lights are going to come on in just a few moments. You're going to hear the line lockers engage. You're going to hear the revs start to rise. You see the little lurch as the cars hit their line lockers. And the lights are going to go off. And we are going to go racing. There was a great jump from Brad Wall way back in the field. Almost too good to be true. Might have got that one. The contact was made with Daniel Schultz by Peter Pavlovich as well. But the guy that jumps through in P number 1 all the way through turn number 1 is actually Tim Nicol. He's been jumped by Jet Murray. He's got control of the field. And now he'll look to lock that one down. Dylan Gray in behind him. Motters has jumped his way up into P4. Brad Wall in behind him in the first of the SRW cars with a monster of a getaway. And I think Schultz has slotted in behind him as well. Pavlovich rounds out P number 7. And we will get a little bit further back where it's Joe Mahoney, Steve Martin, and Ray Oliver round out your top 10. So aggression on that start from the SRW drivers. 2 of them got mega launches.
Yeah, definitely great start there from Brad Wall. Daniel Schultz up 3 positions off the grid. I did see some cars go off in the back.
Oh, Pavlovich!
Pavlovich goes around. Not sure if he had a bit of help.
No, he lost that on his own.
There, he looked like he lost it on his own, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to cost him greatly. Oh, Adam is sitting in there. He might be in race control tonight.
There you go. The man with issues with some drivers' abilities sitting in race control tonight there from Adam Hughes. Another car's gone very, very wide, which I think is Steven Sinkovic, who's going to be, yep, that's the car in the back of that shot right there. And then the other one's Leith McClimate that's just cut through and got down in front of him. So Sinkovic will go to the tail end of the field. Tim Nicol is going to lead the entirety of lap number 1. He's already cut his way through the chicane on lap number 2. Jet Murray right underneath his rear wing. Gray is a little bit behind now and starting to drop out of that draft, and he'll be assaulted by Brock Mottershead. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, 20 minutes on this first race. Sinkovic is on his way into the lane as well to pit on lap number 1, potentially for damage, but they'll settle themselves down. It's going to be about 16 laps is the journey, 15, 16 laps. Maximum race distance here in both races here tonight, Brendan.
Yeah, it's nice short racing, I think, tonight. And I do like the sprint format, especially in this AM series. Gives the guys time, just enough time to sort of get used to the car, get some good racing, but not so long that we're going to see massive field splits. And Carl Hodgkinson hasn't had a very good start. He has had a good start. He's up 8 spots, but he's got himself in quite a bit of track space. So obviously something's happened further down the back, because he's got a long way to go to get up to Shane Nicol.
I would not be complaining about running in clear air at Winton. I think that's one of the best things you can do with yourself early on. Allows you to just settle into your pace, settle into your groove, not a huge deal going on. No one trying to shove a cheeky nose down the inside somewhere in the first couple of laps. It's a great way to start things off from Callum.
I'll be honest with you, Scotty. I saw his car on screen by itself and I thought he'd crashed.
Well, he's probably, to be honest, he's probably taken some avoiding action, which is why he's off in his own sort of little space and area at the moment. But yeah, it's going to continue to be Nicol from Murray from Gray. Going to be all about tyre conservation here at Winton as well. And have a look at these boys on screen going toe-to-toe. Brett Taylor and Leith McClimate, the two teammates, will have at it. These guys have actually been having a mega battle the last couple of weeks as well, Brendan. And then Sinkovic is a lap down and running wide at turn number 4.
Yep, letting those guys go ahead and have their battle. Oh, big lock up there.
I think Leith was either in hot or Brett lifted off a lot more than he expected. Now Leith is all over and Brett's let that one happen. That looks like team orders playing out.
Magic crossing in. And drink. See, Callum has had a crash. I just called it before it happened.
Oh, you were just predicting the future. He doesn't.
He's just dropped 3 spots in that one. There we go.
He doesn't want you to say that, well, actually, you know what? Maybe he's got a defense now. It's commentator's curse. They were talking about me. They said how well I was doing. It's not my fault.
Yeah, watch the YouTube. Watch the favourable Brendan comments in YouTube chat. Come on now.
Ladies and gentlemen, who do you want us to talk platitudes about here tonight? Who do you want us to see cause the effect of the commentator's curse? It is programmable. Occasionally you can draw it out and have it put in front of somebody else, but doesn't work when you want it to work. It has to be accidental, but if you tell us that you want us to watch along and ride on board with somebody, it tends to bring them unstuck. Well, did someone say Dylan Gray?
Dylan Gray's had a moment there, Joe Mir.
So, a ton of spots now dropped for Dylan Gray back in about 7th, 8th. I can tell you Hodgkinson's run wide, run off the track again. Yeah, look, you've done that to him. I can claim complete and utter, I've not done anything. That's not my fault tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Brendan's more than well enough commentated cursed him.
Yeah, well, you've definitely commentated cursed Sinkovic because he's back in the pit lane again. 2 transits in 2 laps, buddy. It's not going well for Sinkovic tonight.
So I think Race Control was just saying they were looking into an incident from lap number 1. And that incident was, I believe, no further action. Not seeing any penalties come through as of yet. So not hugely worried about that one in the early stages.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if Cal's had another incident because he's down another 4 positions. So he was up 9. He's now up 4 from his start. So he's had a pretty rough start there. It's showing him as up 4 positions, but he's starting in 16th. I'm not quite sure how that works out. But
is this more teammates going toe-to-toe here in a few moments? As Shane Nicol runs a little bit wide. That's going to prevent an opportunity for Leith McClimate, who senses an opportunity and absolutely snavels that one up. That was like crab set up in a crab pot.
Yeah, well, definitely just left the door wide open and he's slipped him straight through. So Joe Mahoney now sitting in 6th place. He's got quite a bit of traffic in behind him, including Steve Martin in the KFC car with the red tyres. Not to be mistaken, Pavlovic sitting a bit further back. Dylan Gray, Ray Oliver, they're two very quick guys who have had bad starts. We're looking to get their way through this pack.
I'm curious, what do you think the tyres on those cars stand for? I mean, it's a little bit of a greenish tinge. I don't think KFC's ever had some greenish options on their menu.
I think it's just for the benefit of us to be able to tell them apart, to be fair.
It stands for Mountain Dew. It stands for Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew?
Yeah, Mountain Dew and Wicked
Was
Wings.
that a bit of a lock-up as we cut away from that car? It looked like he got it all wrong going into the chicane just as we cut away.
Well,
Great battle here. Great battle here going on for the lead, though. Jet Murray now putting all sorts of pressure onto Tim Nicol.
Now, so he'll start to really assault the rear bumper of Nicol. It's tough to find a way past. He's going to have to use all the racecraft that he knows. Don't forget Jet Murray, younger brother to Cooper Murray. Australian Porsche Cup star that started to really turn his attentions internationally. And we wish him another very strong 2023. I think Steve Martin's off the track at this point in time, and I think that may be contact with Ray Oliver.
Yeah, we'll throw up a replay, I believe.
Oh, it's Dylan Gray.
So this is Steve Martin, Dylan Gray.
So whether or not Ray Oliver's been collected in this one, attempting to take avoiding action, the Gray's definitely in deep and made some contact with the rear end.
Yeah, nowhere to go there. So not big contact, but certainly lost some bit of track position and quite a bit of time as well to Dylan Gray.
So netcode was ruled to be the contributing factor. Race control jumped all over that. That's generally pretty clear when it's netcode. I mean, the provable part from a race perspective, Brendan, have you done any race controlling on iRacing?
Very little, very little.
Okay, so you're aware of some of the bits and pieces. Generally, the rule that we've always gone by was, okay, fair enough, code played a part, but would the cars have made or not made contact without that net code? If they still would have made contact, well, you rule it as if the net code wasn't even a factor. So this will be the move that's done by Jet Murray on Tim Nicol. Indeed, it's just a mistake from Nicol. Presents an opportunity for Jet Murray, and that will be signed, sealed, and delivered. He'll disappear off into the sunset now.
Yeah, Tim Nicol there running way too wide, leaves the door wide open. Unforced error there from our race leader. And now the pressure needs to be put back on. But look at that gap already. Just a lap removed. Massive lead now. 2-second lead for Jet Murray. I say 2 seconds is a massive lead. Around a track like Winton, it certainly is.
Now, just about everyone's spread out. Battle packs are starting to break themselves up. We're already coming up on the halfway mark in 10 seconds or so's time of race and one. I actually did some digging, Brendan. We're actually...
The curbs.
Did you see the rear end bouncing around a bit like a frog?
Yeah, I remember that was the particular incident I was referencing right at the start, that memorable Porsche race when they were all jumping that curb. We actually saw one do a forward flip. So Ray's got right up on those curbs. The suspension there has just picked them up and ended up lifting that rear end up. Certainly a bit of a hair-raising moment. It'd be good if we could get a replay on the in-car view, because that's certainly a check your undies moment if you're in the car.
I think Ray Oliver will be making the request at the pit crew. Can you please have the spare underwear on standby at the conclusion of this race? We're going to need to do a quick change. Right. So, looking up and down the field, Gray is on the rear bumper of Daniel Schultz. We're just getting word Tim Nicol's had he's in pit lane, actually. So I think this incident's happened on the way to pit lane. Has he not had enough fuel to the car?
That would be a very costly error. It looks like he's sort of trying to crawl it back for sure.
No, that he's on pace, because otherwise Jet would have disappeared way out into the distance. Is there damage on that right-hand side of the car? That driver's side of the car that's facing us at the moment? It's very odd because he wouldn't be that close to
10-second pit stop suggests probably a splash and dash. It's not long enough for tyres, and it's not really long enough for
or a fast repair.
Not for 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Excuse me, got the hiccups coming on. 10 second stationary time would be a little bit too long for a fast repair, I would think, unless he's forgotten to untick his windshield.
Oh, here we go. Dylan Gray is going to try and go around the outside, look for the opportunity on Schultz. Still there, gonna get the job done. A little bit of a bumping around there, but that is just good racing at Winton Motorsports Park. Sometimes you got to use the old chrome horn to get things done there. And this is Brad Mays with Lee Climate and Tim Nichols. So Nickel might even be on fresh tyres at this point. He might have taken tyres, might not have taken tyres, probably didn't take tyres. But either way, two drivers that he has definitely got the pace to get by. And now it's going to take some aggressive moves. He'll fill the rearview mirror of Leith McClimate immediately ahead of him. And can't do very much about it there. So he's going to have to set this one up. Get good drive off a corner somewhere and just park it down the inside. Currently, Nickel is in 13th, won't be receiving the benefit of the reverse top 10, I believe. So I think it's only the top 10 that's inverted.
Yeah, correct. Just the top 10. So at the moment, Pavlovic there sitting in the A1 position, I suppose you could say. Certainly would be a driver to watch coming off pole, that's for sure. But a great little battle forming here at the moment with Nickel and Taylor and Mays.
Yeah, so Mays has been overtaken by McClimate, and now down the inside goes Nick. Up and underneath the gum tree. Is he going to hang it all the way out and around there? He's still there. Now he's got the inside as they switch back. Mays will try and hang on to it around the outside. The corner distance quite long. Now this will become the inside of the left-hander of turn number 10 as they come down on the run to 10. Still down the inside is Mays. He pinches him off.
In contact.
They made contact, but he's going to come out the other side with the spot. And now Mays is getting rapidly caught by Brett Taylor as well. Oh, Mays has lost it! And manages to not take anyone along with him. Well, that all perked up in a real hurry. So Dylan Gray is starting to make inroads on a Brad Wall, but I think he's going to run out of time. At the same time, you're watching Joe Mahoney not quite able to do the same to the rear bumper of Daniel Schultz, which says the SRW boys are probably a little bit heavy on tyre wear, and you can see that Schultz is trying to use all that track. And that means he can't open up the next left-hander, and struggling as well. It's that whole section in the middle of the track there, Brendan. It's slow, but it's so important where you position the car at all phases, because you can sacrifice speed at the next corners. Multiple flip-flopping corners back-to-back is all about car positioning right the way through.
Yeah, 100%. You really need to think about your sequencing in corners. Sometimes compromising one corner to benefit another as well. You see on the track map there, it really is just a zigzag. It's left-right combinations. So that track positioning, as you mentioned, so important, especially when you're battling another car. We saw it just before that side-by-side action. You have the advantage inside, outside, inside, outside. And we switch back to Ray Oliver, who's just had another moment. So not a good race for Ray here. He's currently finding himself in 7th position, though, which isn't the worst spot to be in. He's one down from the starting grid. But it's certainly been a race. Certainly been a race you'd want to forget. On
those curving again. So he's already had one moment at the end of turn 2. And now Brad Mays might have gotten a bump and run, which has allowed Brett Taylor through, which Race Control will be taking a look at here in a moment. In the meantime, Andrew Cowan has caught up to and is playing games with the KFC car. Now, Cowie, I don't know if you won for taking advice mid-race, mate, but Cowan nearly punches a hole in the rear bumper of the KFC car. That's where the deep fryer is, mate. Leave that thing alone.
That was a big move there from Cowie. Probably not quite what he was planning to do. Caught him a little bit off guard. Certainly with that gap. And a bit of a moment on exit as well. So certainly hit the nerves a little bit. It's unsettled him. And now it looks like he's having some internet issues.
There's Cowie.
Potentially
lost.
Yeah, potentially a disconnect there from Cowie. He's gone.
Oh, he's back. I think he's back. No, it was Shane Nickel that I just saw jumping around. Yep. So we're actually losing multiple drivers. That actually says it might be an ISP issue, which that might get you up. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll need to reach out to those drivers and see if they share an insider. Hodgkinson has lost connection due to upload packet loss again, but Cowie's dropped back in. What happened? Where's he?
That's bizarre.
Because he's now a long way down. So he had similar issues the other night whereby his monitors just stopped working. That can actually cause graphical issues, will actually cause you to blink from the server as well. So if the same things happened as he happened the other night, that's a worrying trend for Cowie and something he's going to have to get fixed in a right royal hurry.
Yeah, that's certainly a new one for me. I've not seen that before personally. Very, very interesting. I mean, to be fair, my iRacing PC is currently sitting there not turning on at all. I believe I've got a power supply. I think I've got a power supply unit issue. It's the first time I tried to fire it up since relocating. And it obviously hasn't taken the 5-hour drive very well.
Oh, you moved 5 hours because I'm moving 8. Oh, that doesn't... Okay, so our resident PC expert, ladies and gentlemen, I think he was in our broadcasting team chat actually the other day. I actually asked Shibby, what's the best way to move a computer? Because Shibby, so there's 3 of us in the last couple of weeks that have undergone moving, because he's moving as well at the moment. I said to him, well, look, I mean, if you're moving, what do you recommend to do with computers? He said take the graphics card out, wrap it up, box it up, and the rest of it should take care of itself. But anyway, the battle is now on for pole position for race number 2, and we are rapidly running out of time. Indeed, I think there is only going to be one more lap, so we won't get the 16 that was on the schedule. We'll get 15 as Petar Pavlovich is P9 at the moment. We'll be P2 on the grid as the case. Leith McClimate's in the middle of this one, and Tim Nicol right in behind them. So Nicol has right caught up to these Muppets.
And Nicol will be wanting it really bad, because Nicol will know that he'll get pole position if he can get past just one of these guys. Yeah, otherwise, it's a very costly 11th place start there for the second race.
Well, I don't know how race control... If it happens on the last lap and they can't issue the penalty prior to the end of the server, he's going to have to start from pit lane if he finishes in 10th place. But at the same time, that's cost someone a spot. Dylan Gray's just managed to get himself back onto the podium past Brad Wall, and here comes... This will be the move from Brad. Gets the tyre in the dirt and decides he wants to play running in the 90s through that stereo system.
Big moment there, pressure on. Can't quite hold the nerve. We see it at Winton so often. Barney with the white flag.
He's a madman, that Barney. Have you seen the energy he puts in a wave in that?
Certainly gives it everything. So we jump on with Jet Murray now, our race leader. We'll watch him come around and finish this race. A couple of corners left to go. He's got a 12-second lead over Brock Modishead, who's Brock's had a pretty quiet race, really. He's found himself up 3 positions from the grid, but we haven't really seen too many battles. He's getting it all sideways, putting on a show as Jet Murray, as he comes around the final corner, gets it all kinds of sideways down the straight, and will take the checkered flag. So we wait now 12 seconds further back up the road for Brock Modishead. And more importantly, I think that battle for P10, because everyone else is just about settled out. Dylan Gray's going to be home in P3. Wall will be 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. There's a hotly contested battle between Schultz, Mahoney, Ray Oliver as they come out the last corner. And it's going to be Schultz. Nearly Ray Oliver's going to try and get there over Mahoney's not going to quite get there. They're going to lock themselves in. And then just in behind these guys as well, Stevie Martin will grab P8, but 9th, 10th, and 11th. Can Nicol get there at the line? He's going to run out of track. And Nicol's going to start from 11, 1 spot behind Jet Murray, who he battled for the race win in race number 1. And that is going to sign, seal, and deliver race number 1 with Leith McClimate. Petar Pavlovich is going to be your front row, and Stevie Martin. So maybe the teammates might end up working together there. Yeah, definitely a possibility. We love to see the old team battle. Happens so often here in SAW now. All of our prolific teams, they get together on track. They cause some really great racing. Brad Mays, our last driver across, in 15th. The DNS for the round. Carl Hodgkinson and Sinkovic. Sinkovic goes in after just a couple of laps, and I think Carl was only another couple behind that. I think he completed only 3 or 4 laps.
Oh, yeah,
Big incidents there from those. Well, yeah, connection issues from Carl, but just driver issues, I think, from Sinkovic. So we wait for the reshuffle.
10 minutes is going to set the tone in between servers, and 10 minutes allows us the option to jump in and back to one of the rising stars of Australian sim racing. He's a guy I've raced with and even shared setups with before. It's Jet Murray, mate. Long time no see. First of all, it's good to have you back, man. How you feeling? Been a long time.
Yeah, good. You?
Yeah, not too bad. I tell you, Brendan, this guy has an ear for technology. He heard me sit here and click the shifter a few times on my brand new steering wheel. He's straight away, I know what wheel that is. It's a GSI Gomez Sim Racing Industries wheel. Straight away, bang on. Exactly knew the make and model. That's an incredible talent, Jet.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of wheels do have a very distinctive click, but to be able to tell them apart like that, that's pretty incredible.
Mates, what has Christmas break been like too up for you, mates? What's been going on? Prepping for the Bathurst 12-hour this weekend?
Yeah, sure. Can't wait. Just a good track, and especially to spend 12 hours with mates around a track like that in a fun GT3 car would be awesome.
Most importantly, mate, can you please, if you're in my split, can you just set sail off into the distance and stay far away from me? Man, I don't want the pressure of racing you. You're too much better than I am. Can you just get out of it? Brendan, do you want to have a few questions for the youngster?
Well, I mean, it sounds like you're not going to be in a split, Scotty, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. I mean, I guess the question, the odd obvious question is, what car are we racing?
Not really 200% sure yet. Either the Porsche or the McLaren.
So plenty of testing throughout the week then, final decision being made some point in the near future?
Hopefully just trying a bunch of setups out and seeing what we're fastest on and most consistent on.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing I guess a lot of people, the casual viewer watching probably wouldn't quite appreciate is the amount of work that guys put into setups and testing them all out, different conditions. Obviously, a 12-hour race is very different. It's not always about having the fastest car. It's having a setup that you're going to be able to drive for 12 hours and bring it home.
Yeah, sure is.
Alrighty, well, I think we might chuck you back up to where you were. It looks like the second race is getting ready to start. Track information popping up on screen there. Pretty much the same as it was before. 21 degrees now, slightly warmer. Still overcast. The big white sheep are up in the sky. And race 2 from Winton coming up very shortly. Nah.
Ladies and
Alrighty.
gentlemen, geez, we're so good at this sort of stuff. So start off with his internet connection working, so I just automatically take over the stream. And then his internet connection comes back and he thinks he owns the place. His name's Brendan Walton and he's an absolutely grouse commentator. I tell you what, he's great to work with. Right on the ranking and your amateur night, 40 minutes the distance for race number 2. Pole position is held by Mr. Leith McClimate, Peter Pavlovich off alongside of him, Stevie Martin, Ray Oliver, Joe Mahoney, Daniel Schultz, Brad Wall, Dylan Gray, Mottershead, Nickel, Cowan, Nickel, Mays, Hodgkinson, Sinkovich is your race grid for 17 cars out on track here tonight. Going racing in just a few moments. As it times out, line lock is engaged. Look at the flames shoot out of the exhaust of Peter Pavlovich's car on the outside of run to turn number 1, and here they go! Launch initially was great by Leith McClimate, but the second phase was awesome. He's bogged it down, and now the field's going to fire in there 4 wide. This is going to cause chaos unless someone rotated. The frog has croaked, and that will be the last time he skips, jumps, and hops about on the opening lap.
Yeah, Leith Clement there had a pretty bad start, or the initial jump was good, but then he wheel spun as he was trying to find second gear, and he's picked up Ray Oliver trying to overcommit into turn 1 by the looks of things. We'll wait for race control to get some kind of official ruling on that, but otherwise a pretty clean start from everybody else. Ray is certainly the big loser there, finds himself down at the back of the field. Pretty good little battle there. We'll get a replay off the start. You see that really poor start on the inside. Ray's tried to go around him.
It's Leith McClimate still down there on the inside. Ray sort of pinched him down there, and the car on the outside, I think, might have been Brad Wall. No, it was Daniel.
Yeah, 22. No, it is Bradley Wall.
Oh, he's run wide. That's why. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
I was going to say that Daniel Schultz is up to P4, so he's actually in a really, really good spot, which is why he was right in and about the right spot for that one. Both of the SRW cars further up the grid have been getting off of the line phenomenally so far this evening. So battling in the early stages of things, Murray has managed to get his way all the way up to P number 6 already. And now he's going to try and get aggressive from Brock Mottershead's point of view. They will elbow each other, and Murray gets escorted outside the track. Now his car in the fence. It's going to try and hang on to it. The pack will get down in and by him. It is Leith McClimate, your pole sitter, who's now facing the wrong direction and trying to recover that stricken car. Murray up to P6, and Brett Taylor's off the track as well.
Yeah, I wonder if Leith was still sitting back there in the pit lane, not in the pit lane, on the track, and it's caused those later guys coming through to have to avoid him.
Tim Nichols had another poor start to a race because he's at the back.
Yeah,
so something's happening.
I wouldn't be surprised if we have a safety car called here.
There's a lot of chaos in that one. It's all cleared itself up now, and now there's cars at the back end that are shuffling around. I think that's Brad Wall that's undercut, and overcuts are going to be massive here tonight. Oh, big wing from, I think that was Mottershead. So, incident and issues starting to come through. And it was a pinch that we saw from Ray Oliver, and it's cost him dearly. Now he's going to have to try and find his way past Steve Sinkovich. And if I know Steve Sinkovich, he is going to absolutely fill the windshield of... Still going to hang it around the outside from Sinkovich, but now the move gets done from the driver of the 99 for Frog Leap Juice Racing.
A little bit loose on exit there, Ray, as well. It seems like the cars are pretty unsettled here in the second race because the track temp's starting to heat up a little bit. Obviously, tyre grip's starting to become a bit of a struggle in these early stages. Perhaps tyre's not quite warmed yet either, only 3 laps into the race. But,
I was going to say, is it fuel, perhaps? More fuel weight in the car for the second race?
See, but obviously a slightly longer race, double the length here.
Oh! Joe Mahoney has managed to cover that one off, And the first penalty of tonight's race server has just been issued to Tim Nicol. And now Schultz is going to get rotated. It's chaos down at the second last turn. And then Dylan Gray gets secondary contact and fires a car off and into the pit lane. It's Schultz who will try and recover that one, but he's off at the last corner. Not going to take an early pit stop. It's way too early for that. And Schultz, that's going to take some unpacking. There was a lot in that one.
Yeah, there's plenty going on there, and not just in the first instance alone, and then there was that secondary follow-up one when Schultz ended up going wide on the off-track there. Going to be a lot to unpack as we see Sinkovic potentially making a move around the outside.
Yeah, and that will be
got Schultz on the inside of him.
The stable. Sinkovic still running the legacy. Sandown showing way earlier in the season, so Sinkovic loves this livery, absolutely loves the car, and still putting it to good use.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad you can hear his mic cutting out too, Rob. I thought it was just my internet playing up again.
No, it's unpulled, so I do suffer from tech issues as well. They're self-inflicted.
Hey, look, it wouldn't, we can't expect the stream to go flawlessly, eh? Someone's got to be getting something wrong always, eh? It's just how it works.
Righto, so getting checked up here, and Dylan Gray now crawling all over Joe Mahoney. This has all allowed Jet Murray up into P4, and he's going to start setting his eyes forward as he's going to go hunting down for Brock Mottershead, and Mottershead comes through to set the fastest lap of the race, and the current lap complete. The 20.294, and we were deep into the 19s and even the 18s for Jet Murray as well in qualifying. So pace not being there in the race, but much larger fuel capacities on board these cars at this point in time.
Yeah, definitely. Look at Cowie sitting there in the background of this battle pack. He's got Dylan Gray, very quick guy in front of him. Currently trying to get past Mahoney there. Cowie up 6 positions already. In the early stages of this race, just keeping his nose clean. If he can keep himself behind Murray there, Gray, keep himself behind Gray as we jump in the car and catch a bit of the moment there. He stands a good chance to make some positions here if he can follow through.
Righto, so there was a further incident for an unsafe rejoin from car 175 as well, but that's been ruled no further action. So Stewart's continuing to have their handful here, much like Andrew Cowan behind the wall, and so does Joe Mahoney, who's got his hands full looking in that rear view mirror. Where does Gray position this one up? He's trying to set it for the run down at turn number 1. Shows the nose, does get deep down the inside, and turns into the outside, but he loses the rear on the way to turn. It will be a hip and shoulder. He's going to redress that one, yeah.
He's not going to let him redress it. He did redress it.
Both of them a ton of time. Yeah. Yep. And now Ray Oliver deep in, and he's got Gray in behind him. Gray's got to assess that damage relatively quickly if there is enough damage. You've got to be aggressive, though, to get the job done at Winton, and that's just, I think that's, shall we say, a sign of things to come?
It's taking it a little bit too far with that aggression. It's a very tight corner, very difficult to send up the inside, and we saw, contact inevitable really when you try to send it in that hard. Brett Taylor now running in 12th. He's chasing down Schultz. Looking promising. He's driving with a certain finesse there. Get Murray in 4th now on the back of Mottershead. And Pavlovic still sitting up in first place with his teammate right behind him. So you called it earlier on there, Scotty, those Kmart cars, KFC cars. Where did that come from? Where did that come from?
Mate,
those
exchanging...
I did it again. Those damn KFC cars.
Exchanging a Wicked Wing for the blender, I think, is what they're doing.
Front.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Honestly.
Oh my god, I just had a thought. I need the Century cars, and Cam Jones, if you're listening, or anyone from the Century team, you need Wicked Wing plastered all over your rear wing. It is the KFC Wicked Wing. And then we could call the KFC Wicked Wing camera! Ain't that a Zinger.
Yeah. Well, that's the show tonight, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Scotty's off to bed. He's had enough for tonight.
Mate, if your internet cuts out somewhere in the next minute, I don't blame it. Oh.
It just can't handle the puns. It's just a big moment there. That's super. Is that Oliver again having a lockup? And Trey nowhere to go but straight into the side of him.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is racing around Winton, and Ray Oliver is struggling. The worst part for Ray Oliver, I do know he's got a spotter on board tonight. Here comes down the inside. Is he going to get the... Not quite, but now it's going to put Brock Motteshead on the outside.
You'll get it on the inside.
Here comes Murray. He's back down the inside. Job done. Up to P3 for Jet Murray, and Steve Martin's the next car in line, and that will open the door for Motteshead. I think Motteshead will just follow him through.
Yeah, definitely be looking to try and get that work done if they can split. Oh, 2.5 wide around the top of the track. Flip those KFC cars.
Still not done.
He's poked a nose. Oh, he's hit him.
Imagination. And now contact's been made, and that will be redressed almost immediately, but that's allowed to trundle on through. So it is done, and things are breaking out here in the amateur racing.
Yeah, big moves here. Again, we talked about it in the first week. A lot of these guys, not necessarily amateurs in iRacing sense, just unfamiliar with the supercar and the way it performs. And I think we're seeing that tonight. In the GT3 car, you can really send it up quite hard on the inside. You're going to have the ABS, all those assists to help you. The Viet Supercar doesn't have those luxuries, of course, and I think that's sort of maybe what we're seeing here tonight. The guys are just sending a little bit too hard for the cars. Got an update from Race Control. We'll just pull that up.
There's no further action on the incident with Dylan Gray and both of the other cars that were involved in that one. So we saw Schultz and Dylan Gray compromised by that one, and they'll have to keep about it. No penalties to other cars, but Andrew Cowan has been penalised on the incidents a little bit earlier on as well. He's had to serve a drive-through penalty. And Motteshead now in P2, so it'll be interesting to see what goes on here. And Brad Wall's up to P3. Jet Murray dropped a long way back, all things considered, out of that one's just got the job back done to get to P5. And Nichols on his way through the pit lane, so I think that's an early pit for him. And this is going to continue from Dylan Gray as he gets aggressive. Now he's going to slice down the inside and look to follow these guys on through. So doors being open and doors being slammed shut up and down the field. Gray will get the job done on Steve Martin, and Martin's lost 2 spots in a lap.
Oh, Martin's lost a lot more than 2. He's lost 5.
Yeah, but over a couple sort of laps, you see. So they're going to trouble. More action coming through from Race Control, I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen. 17 and 22, which is Murray and Brad Wall. 17 had no room / business, being on the outside of 22 on exit on lap 2. No further action, so they're investigating incidents right the way through. We've had incidents reviewed from lap 7, we've had incidents reviewed from lap 1, 2 and 3, so Race Control are working their way up and down the field at this point in time, right through the order of the laps that have been completed so far. And now Jet Murray's going to get a penalty, which I believe will be for that most recent incident.
Yeah, good to see Race Control keeping busy, obviously. We want to see good, clean racing, but, those boys need to do some work every once in a while.
We're only saying that because Adam's in. You love it. You love it when Adam has to get Race Control. And that microphone's going again, boys. Give me 2 moments. Yeah,
your microphone's having a bit of a moment there, Scotty. It's a bit like the internet connection of some of these drivers. It just cuts in and out every so often. All right. So we've got Jet Murray here running in 5th place. He's opened that gap up back to Gray. And Ray Oliver now starting to get on the back of Nickel. He's going to get the moves done up the inside here in the second to last corner. Easy as they come. And that's someone in the pit lane. That's Murray in the background So Jet Murray
yeah,
in the pit lane.
Serve that penalty, so you'll get that one out of the way. Dylan 5 and battered, bruised, and battle-weary car. He's doing all right. Petar Pavlovich has made the absolute most of that fresh air up at the front end of town. And Mr. I'll do it on iRacing setups, Brock Mottershead himself. He's doing quite good. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you more background and context to that comment there as well from Brock Mottershead. iRacing offer you setups. They tend to be a great starting point for a setup, but they're intended to be a starting point and even playing field for drivers. They are not intended for this sort of stuff. Particularly, this setup would not be designed for racing at Winton, which means he will be struggling. And Brock Mottershead does have enough talent to squeak himself into a pro championship in the V8 supercars, but the setups are the part that's letting him down there. So he's doing a phenomenal job with that. He's probably losing half, 3/4 of a second a lap, plus tyre wear as well. Tyre wear on those setups not great.
Yeah, baseline and sort of those medium high downforce setups in iRacing tend not to be the kindest on tyre wear. For the fixed setup racing, there is an argument to be had there. Obviously, it does create a level playing field. I know there's a bit of conversation in the broadcast team today with the admins and the race control, etc., in regards to trying to keep things fresh and innovative. So I think we do quite often. And there was a bit of a chat regarding last year's Dirt Series and it being fixed setup. Now, yes, it created a nice fair racing platform for everybody, but personally for me, when I race dirt, I do adjust my setups because it's not just about having the right setup for the right track, it's about having the right setup for the right driver. The way I drive a car is very different to the way, the next guy does it. As we see Brett Taylor there. It was almost a really nice pass until got a bit sideways to Schultz on exit, perhaps a bit of contact, and looked like he actually ended up inside his car.
Well, see, the other thing with dirt, and you make a great point, is all of this. So, ladies and gentlemen, the way that physics work within circuit racing, in iRacing, and then on dirt. Dirt is there. It functions. It's somewhere in the realm. It's one of probably the better dirt oval sims that exist out there, but that's not saying very much. There are a few dirt rally and dirt road sort of things that do tend to do quite a good job in iRacing, maybe not perhaps as far along in that category, but they have stated that they're working on the tyre combinations and in particular focus on dirt. And one of the bigger things in dirt as well is the ability to get passing done, and iRacing setups don't really enable great racing is another one of the issues in dirt. So there's a few different aspects of that one.
I think just to add to that, Scotty, I think it's probably the only real dirt simulator as such. You have the likes of Cowie getting all sorts of sideways.
How are we showing off his dirt skills just as we talk about it?
You have the likes of World of Outlaw sprint cars, back in the day, produced PlayStation games, very arcadey. Tony Stewart got behind a series a few years ago. Huge disappointment for racing fans because it was pretty much the same game with a slight graphics upgrade. It was a rinse and repeat, very arcadey. You're turning cars hard left and you're still struggling to get around the corners. There's no slide, there's no momentum, there's no racecraft. And iRacing gets it very, very close. I know a lot of guys that... Carl Hodgkinson, he's had a bit of a shocker tonight in the wall again in the Crisscross Racing Smoke Studio.
Can you teach him how to pluck half a race?
He's certainly struggling, and the safety car is out on track, so we will get to see our best friend Tyson. And with all the action that we've seen, perhaps we might see the safety car spin as well.
Oh, that would make my night. Righto, Mr. Baseline and Petar Pavlovich are going to go head-to-head coming into the pit lane. Pavlovich will have priority, and safety car has been called hold positions. There will be no overtaking. We are now halfway through the race, which means this pit stop will carry these drivers through to the end of the race.
Perfect timing for a safety car, really.
Did we plan that? Was that in the broadcast notes I didn't receive?
It almost seems too good to be true, really.
And Callum's new nickname is Callum Competition Caution Hodgkins. He's going to love that. Yeah, so Steven Sinkovich at the back end. He's already gotten in, gotten out. And spot on lead lap just. And I
He
mean
could,
just.
if he was quick enough here, he could pick up the pace car. He could be leading. Depending on where the pace car is. Because he'll get a wave around.
Oh, he's already been released. So he's already received that release. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to get enough time back that he's going to get close to... these guys are already coming back out. So that's Motorhead that's gotten out nice and quickly. So he was saving a bunch of fuel. What's going on there
less
for
fuel.
Popovich?
He's just lost 3 positions.
A long stop.
So obviously used a bit more fuel. When was he on the timing?
He's
yeah,
12 seconds.
He's taken tires. He's taken tires.
You have to. I would think not taking tires would be a bigger risk.
For that long of a.
Sure.
Oh, I'm just looking at stationary time. So Motta said 15.67, Bradley
fine.
Wall 15.8, Dylan Gray 13.1, Peter Pavel at 24.17. So he's taken tires. There's a 9 second. Oh no, there's more. Yeah, 9 second difference in pit stop. He's taken 2 tires. He will have had to have taken tires.
Well, okay. So it's about 15 seconds, ladies. 4 tires. What's the bet somebody's taken 2 out of these guys? And
I think they all will have taken 2. They will have nah. They would have taken lefts or rights because changing fronts and backs takes longer. It's quicker to change a side than it is to change fronts and backs. So quite often around a track like Winton, you'll take your
left sides because it's the outside
left sides.
tire?
Yeah, take the outside tire. Yeah, so you'll take left sides only. It takes a lot longer to change the right rear tires because as in a real simulation, your pit crew starts on the left and then they come